Hello, everyone. Rosen here. Thank you for joining me tonight to this listening party, Become as Gods. Very excited to see you all. I think the last listening party I had was for Children of Termina, and that was a long time ago. So sorry to keep you waiting all these years, but I decided, what the heck? New album, even though it's been like three albums in between or something like that. Like, let's do this, and we should probably have more listening parties. If you guys like this one, we can always just listen to older albums that I do and post here, so we can just have fun in general. So that was track number one from our new album. Reven has joined me here. She's on chat on my behalf. You'll see her posting over there, but she's here. We're partying, and again, thank you everyone for joining. That was track number one, Morning, and God Have Mercy, part one. So this track was a little long. I had this like massive, not kind of medley, but like this opener, and I was like, yes, this is amazing. I wanted an epic entrance to the album, a heavier hitting thing, and then I was like, oh, it's probably too long, for it to just like play as the first track and then wait forever for the second track. And there was this middle point in there where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna split it so we can have the perfect like bookend that kind of sounds the same. So the last track is the part two of this song. So cannot wait to show it to you. Um, it's so funny because this is one of my favorite songs from the album. Let me tell you a little bit of the inspiration behind the album. For many, many years, I've been wanting to do a kaiju album from video game music, meaning, like very Godzilla, very mecha, post-apocalyptic, futuristic, all that vibe, very Evangelion and, Attack on Titan and stuff like that. So that might happen one day. I mean, I'm throwing it out there just because, if it doesn't happen, at least it could have happened, and then it's kind of worse. So there you go. But this is kind of the spiritual successor to that idea, while I also wanted to make a second album of NieR Automata for the longest time, because as you guys know, and thank you so much for your support all these years. That's one of my most successful. I think it must be the most successful album that we've made so far, and that was my debut album with REVEN, so it was kind of like a big deal. And the thing about NieR is that, first of all, it has some of my favorite music of all time as far as video games, but also it's a super long soundtrack, and it would take me like four albums to cover the whole thing. I'm not saying there's going to be a part three or not. You never know. I never thought I would release this second part, but there were so many more songs that I wanted to cover the first time around. And after playing the game like a few more times, so let me remind you, when we were working on Glory to Mankind, I was playing the game and I was discovering the music as we were working on the album. So I didn't have that time to really like absorb everything and go back and make an album. So this time it's kind of like, it's been such a long time after the game released. I've gotten a chance to play it again and all that. So it's like, and the music, I have never stopped listening to the original soundtrack, and that's why this kind of happened. Um, so
Plus all the arrangement albums.
yeah, plus all the arrangement albums. It's kind of ridiculous because not like the world needs another NieR arrangement album, but here I am, just like throwing my love to the creators and to the composers in Monica Studio. But yeah, I just wanted to take this whole concept of like mecha and like uh, post-apocalyptic vibes into this, and that's why you hear those kind of like synth tones and like electric guitars, and it's a much darker album than my past two albums. And well, I guess they're all kind of dark, but you know what I mean. Like, I feel like my Fire Emblem, which was my most recent album, Crest of Flames, was a little bit on the lighter side, and it feels like more colorful. This is like and you got to remember, the way I write these albums is like I get the art commission first, because I'm like, I need to visualize this album, and then I write music for it. So it's kind of like muted, it's dark, it's very destructive. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. Sorry, I'm taking like too long talking. We'll listen to track two soon enough, but track one just has so many nuances. And I'm starting to read the chat a little bit. I'll read a little bit more while we listen to track two. But I want to see if someone caught a little Easter egg on track one, just musically. I want to see. Has anyone gotten it yet?
No,
Okay.
I don't think they were looking for it.
Yeah, you were not looking for it. It's something that you would never expect me to do. But as a hint, I wanted to grab some inspiration from outside, and I kind of made it happen. So yeah, just take a guess. If you recognize morning, the track morning is there, but there's something else in there, and if someone can tell me where that's from, that would be amazing. Hope you can see it. It's like from the least expected place ever, but we'll return to that. For this album, it's what album number is this? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's like my seventh studio album, I believe.
Something like that.
Something like that. I don't know, some insane number. But I feel like every time I make a new album, I get like, a better sense of production, a better budget for it as well. Thanks to you guys and all your support. Like it really, really helps when you guys like listen to my albums on Spotify like every day, buy the vinyl, the CDs, and just keep listening to that because it has really helped my career, and I'm so grateful that I'm still, I'm in album 7 and I don't see an end yet. Like we'll keep doing this as long as you guys want us to do this. So this is probably the most ambitious project we've made. No, it's not the longest one. It's not the hardest one I've worked on, but definitely the highest budget one. I had the chance. I've been working with Sofia Session Orchestra and Choir in Bulgaria for many years now, since Children of Termina, and I always bring them back. I love working with them. They kind of like already understand my tone and my music, so it's kind of easy to just communicate with the orchestra. But this time I was able to record a full string orchestra, a big brass section, an SATB choir. I had like 40 people, 40 singing choir, and for the first time, and I'm so excited to announce that I've been able to work with their Bulgarian ethnic choir. Since you're in Bulgaria, you gotta do it. I've always been inspired by that kind of music, and I've been wanting to try writing in that style and getting their help with like lyrics and all that. So it's been fantastic to work with them, and some of this particular like nasal twang like style of singing is very present throughout the soundtrack, the original soundtracks. I was like, oh, not Bulgarian, more like Japanese traditional choir music, but I wanted to give that a try. So there's a track where I have them all. I think it might be the last track. I'll point that out later. All right, so that was track number 1, Morning. God Have Mercy, and let's go and listen to the second one. REVEN. That was Birth of a Wish. By the way, I think I fixed the mic. Maybe you'll hear me through um, both sides. Let me know if that's not the case. I'll do my best. Anyway, so Birth of a Wish, it's a track that I kind of just covered as the first, like the opening track in Glory to Mankind. And I love the track and the album. Like it happens at fantastic and creepy moments, like thinking about the desert and the robots. Um, but I guess I couldn't cover the whole thing. I don't remember why I didn't cover the whole thing back then, but when I announced the album, people were like hyped. They were like, "Oh my gosh!" When they saw the trailer, and they're like, "I cannot wait to hear to your Birth of a Wish cover." And I was just like, awkward. So this time, I was like, I got to start with this, like opening and then like straight into Birth of a Wish because I did want to cover it before, and I think it was a perfect choice because I had like a 20-piece like men choir for this, and I was like, this is perfect. Like, it's gonna sound awesome. So I wanted to give it a little bit more of an electronic vibe. It kind of reminds me of the style of like the music from Attack on Titan, the anime, like a little bit heavier than the original, and yeah, hopefully you like that. You enjoyed the track. So the cool thing about having super talented friends in the industry and super nice people is that they also get to help me. And I haven't since Children of Termina, I've gotten more people on board to help me with things to just make everything better. And one of the people I want to feature right now is Eric Vocals. He has been helping me orchestrate and make parts for the orchestra sessions because these albums happen pretty fast. The production is just like I arranged the thing, and at the same time we need to make like scores and everything. So it's like I don't have time to do everything nowadays. And with bigger albums, it means like I need more help. But I think that this change in production has really benefited from having his level of artistry and professionalism. For those who don't know Eric Buckles, it's been everywhere. Um, he his work includes like Ori 2, like orchestration and like extra composition, and like Hero of Time, the most amazing Zelda Ocarina of Time arrangement album out there. If you haven't heard it or checked it out, you definitely should. Um, so yeah, he helped them. Oh, I see he is there in the chat. Hi Eric, thank you for joining. I also see David in there. I'll get to you next. But anyway, this is one of the tracks that he helped like orchestrate, and throughout the album you hear a bunch of his magic and making sure that I don't like screw up anything. It's like um, when you have very late sessions, because Bulgaria's like time difference. It's like 7 hours or 8 or something like that from where I am, and usually they happen at like 3 a.m. my time. So when we're prepping all these scores, like he makes sure that I didn't mess up anything, and it's just like huge help, and it's fantastic. So I just wanted to mention that. The other fun thing that I like about arranging NieR music is transcribing the lyrics since they're made up already. I might have mentioned all this. I won't bore you with all that in the previous album, but um, it's just super fun to transcribe all the lyrics that the music team wrote for this game that certainly means something. I'm pretty sure I've read interviews from Yoko Taro where he's like, yeah, I'm the only one who knows. Like he writes the lyrics or like what he wants the songs to say, and then he passes them off to like the writers and the songwriters and all that, and then they just turn it into like these many different languages. I know this one it's like kind of like a futuristic German. So that Emmy Evans, I believe, wrote the lyrics for. But it's kind of cool to kind of like reverse engineer these lyrics and try to write them in the score so other people can perform them. So that is super cool. I'm glad I got the chance to do the song because of that. So the next track, it's gonna be City Ruins, Shade. This is our main single for this album. It's the most like pop orchestral piece from the album. And what's interesting is that if you heard Glory to Mankind, you'll notice that we had already covered that song huge difference though. In the game, you have like the two versions, right? And shade happens like towards the second half of the game, or like later on, and then there's different circumstances which are like a little bit darker. There's more going on. When I see the cover art of this album, it reminds me a lot of City of Ruins, because that's kind of like the stuff that you see when you hear it. And so last time Revan got to arrange that song, and I think it was one of my favorites, because it's one of the first ones that you hear, since it's like from your hub, your main village in the game. And even though I got to work on the whole album with her, because these albums we really could produce everything, like we touch all the tracks together. Some of them have more of her, some of me, but it's like the whole album from like inception to finish, like it's completely co-produced by both of us. But this time I was like, hey, can I take a City Run, since there's another track I really wanted to do, like something a little different, or that sounds like completely different from your already amazing arrangement on Glory to Mankind. So hopefully you enjoy that. This is the first track where we'll hear the Bulgarian choir, just a little bit of feature there. And this is the first track where we hear Revan's vocals on the lead. So let's check that out. Hello, welcome back. That was City Ruins, the third track. Before I keep going, I think someone requested that I don't spoil the track list. I'll do my best to not, go beyond. I'm sorry if I don't meet your expectations of track list. Again, the soundtrack is pretty long, and there's always room for more albums. So don't be too sad if I didn't cover the track that you wanted. But I hope you enjoy the track list regardless. It's been such a fun project to work on, even though it was really hard for me to pick the songs that I wanted to work on. By the way, I think this is the longest production I've had, and that's just because of pandemic. I started working on this album back summer of last year, but I kind of like got more inspired to work on Crest of Flames, so I just did that first. And I was supposed to release this album last year, but I was like, you know what? I already released Keyblade War and Crest of Flames. I thought it'd be weird to release a third album, so I was like, you know what? Let's just like let it breathe. I'll take a little break, work on other stuff, and then I'll come back and keep going in this. And I'm so glad I did because I had much more time to think about like the production, the sound, and the arrangements themselves. So hopefully you can tell. That was City Ruins, and I think is one of my favorite songs that I've arranged where I just love the vocal production, and that is because of one incredible individual. His name is Heath Hyman, and he is literally the most talented vocal producer I know out there. I don't know if he's here. If you're here, hi. I'm embarrassing you, but he's fantastic. He's a pop producer, and he just has this musicality and like this amazing talent to arrange vocals or to mix vocals and produce them. And I'm so glad every time I can get him to work with us. It's just like amazing, and I'm not disappointed here. I really like how he treated the vocals, like very
Me too.
yeah. No, it's fantastic. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that this was also orchestrated by Eric. He helped with the strings and brass and choir, I believe. And also, before I keep going, this whole album was mastered, and the reason it sounds so polished is because it was mastered by the master of mastering, Jet Galindo at the bakery. She is at this point key in what my sound is musically, and I owe everything I now know in the industry and like how to prepare better for master and production, and to her. I owe it to her, and she also taught me the way of the vinyl, which now it's her fault that I have so many vinyl albums. So speaking of, I know I always release an album, and my first question from fans is like, is there going to be a vinyl? So yes, there's going to be a vinyl. There's a pre-order. Maybe I'll have someone drop the link there, but pre-orders are live on Bandcamp and the Materia store. So go check them out. They're like open pre-orders at the moment, so don't worry about it, but just get it. Even though it won't get here until like a year from now. I don't get me started on that. This is not the party to cry about like why vinyl takes so long these days, but just to give you a heads up, it's gonna take a long time, and this is the longest we've waited for a vinyl. But anyway, you should get it because again, it supports future albums. We're gonna listen to Peaceful. I should probably not say. Anyway, this is the last title I read out loud. The next track is Peaceful Sleep, and you'll get to hear Reven talking about it after this. So don't be scared if you see someone else here. All right, let's listen to that now.
Hi. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit used to the camera setup. Hello. So that was Peaceful Sleep, and that was actually a really fun one for me because it was a late addition to the album. It was like the week of the recording session with the strings, and we realized we had more time than we needed and we could fit another song in. And a long time ago, I had wanted to do that song as a string quartet arrangement with vocals, and so I just kind of took that very beginning of the arrangement and expanded it to a full string orchestra because their strings are fantastic. And it turned out just so much better than I imagined because they played it so well. And I really loved it. Basically, the thought behind it was I wanted to make it more of like a lullaby, like lush version of it, rather than what's in the game, which is kind of chill grooviness in like the resistance camp. So it was super fun getting to do that. And that one was basically just me. So that was also really cool. Yeah, that was just, I don't know. I just really love getting to record live strings. It's like my favorite thing in the world next to singing. But yeah, thank you everyone so much for being here. This album has been so much fun to make, even though, like Daniel said, it took a million years to record because everything kept getting delayed over and over again last year, and we wanted all of the players to be safe, obviously. We weren't going to rush a recording during a pandemic. So I'm so happy that it's finally out. Oh, such a good album. All right, I'm going to move on to the next track, which is one of my favorites. It has a lot of cool stuff in it, so without further ado.
No, don't play the first track again. Sorry, technical difficulties. Hi, welcome back. Um, okay, this is probably my favorite track from the album, and I'll go into detail why. But I wanted to say that's my favorite track from the album because I have a confession to make, and I hope that um, the composer of this track, Keigo Hoashi, is not in the stream right now. I'm praying to the gods of Monaka now to be here tonight because it's my least favorite track from the game. Or it was. It was. I know. I know. Say what you want. I I don't know. I had this thing like going into. I think it's because I hated going through the forest in the game. I don't know what it was, but I was like, this is so annoying. The vocals are like, purposely beautiful and nasal and everything. I was just like, I don't know. There was a lot of associations that I had with that track that I was just like, this is not the best. So uh, now it's like one of my favorite tracks from the soundtrack, and it's definitely my favorite track from the album. And I'm gonna tell you why. It was a complete accident of just very talented people. It just came together. So I was like arranging this song, and I was like, I know a lot of people like it. Revan loves it, and I know it's a lot of people's favorite. And I was like, I'm gonna do it, whatever. Usually when that happens, I don't give in, and I'm just like, if I'm not comfortable with it, but I don't hate it either. So it's kind of like, I'll do it. So I started working on it, and I was like, yeah, this is just gonna be like whatever, let's just try and see how it goes. And then I contacted four different people to help me with this song because I was like, I'm not feeling this as just like a studio production. It needs to have like live orchestra and all that. So I was like, hey, Eric, I know, I guess, hey, Revan, um, arrange the vocals for this. We're gonna get the Bulgarian choir to do this because I think it would sound a little like warmer and sweeter than the original soundtrack version. And we wanted to try a few more things, and then I really envisioned this like beautiful ear candy forest tune that I could just listen to, like, meditate, or while being in the bathroom. I don't know, you do you. But I wanted a very relaxing track that was full of ambience and soft like bells and like woodwinds and stuff like that. So I also got um Josh Butner, a fantastic woodwind player. We worked together a lot since Children of Termina, and I was like, do your thing. Like, I want all these sound effects. I just want to feel like I'm in the middle of the forest, just like enjoying this whole ambience. And I did the same with this super talented percussionist Larry Salzman, who I love working with. We started working together back in the day with Children of Termina, and ever since, like, he always makes an appearance. He plays every hand percussion instrument out there in the universe, even the ones that don't exist, because he makes a lot of them as well. And he made a lot of sound effects in here and there, and like he's the kind of person who's just like, Daniel, um, I just got this amazing instrument from Thailand, and like, I want to check out this like big ass gong. Like, can I use it? I'm like, yeah, heck yeah. So this was the perfect track because like all these people like putting their ideas into it, and then I get the finishing touch, which I think is the most important part of the track, which is the strings. And good friend of mine, incredibly talented arranger, one of the best composers I know, David Peacock, who's here, and I'm embarrassing. I know. You knew that was coming, so got to help me arrange the strings. The thing I love the most about David, and I've told him a million times, is the way he uses textures in music. You can hear his work and also in like Ori 2, like all those yummy strings and like in the soundtrack. And he's also done killer video game music arranged albums like Parallelus. It's just a chrono um, uh, album that you should go listen to after this. Not right now. I mean, you can listen to it right now if you like chrono like better. Go do that. It's fine. I won't get offended. But it's amazing. You should listen to it if you haven't. And he's worked on every project ever. That's cool. I'm just gonna leave it at that. And he recently released a very cool Skyward Sword EP that I should go listen to. It. It's called Duality by David Peacock on Spotify, Apple Music, and everywhere where there's music. But I think the cool the whole thing about this track is that no one knew that someone else was working on something else, because I gave them all the same bass track, which had like the marimba and like some of the wood instruments, synths, and just like the basic arrangement. And that's what they all got, because I gave it to all of them separately and I gave them directions, but I didn't even know how it was going to turn out. This was one of those like happy accidents, because when I get all the parts at the same time and then like the recordings from the orchestra, I'm like, holy smokes. It sounds so cool. In fact, it sounds so cool that all individual parts could just be like soloed, and they could be an amazing track. Like I after this, I'm probably just, because I keep forgetting to do this, but I'm just gonna go and bounce like all the stems from that session, because if you hear to just the woodwinds, it's like amazing. If you just hear to all the percussion, again, amazing. The choir and all that. So it was very cool. And of course, it also has Eric. He helped like orchestrate the Bulgarian choir as well. So it was just like one of those like parties in a track. We all got to collaborate, even though it was a nicer price. Sorry, I talked too much. I know you're here to listen to the album, not to me. So make sure tomorrow when the album releases, like, just get your favorite pair of headphones or earbuds and just listen to this track. If you don't dig it or whatever, just like, it's really, really good to like put yourself to sleep or just like relax a little bit. I think you'll find a lot of the binaural like 3D audio elements in there very pleasant, which was very fun to mix. All right, next track. I almost say the track name. Here we go. All right, that was Bipolar Nightmare. One of my favorite tracks from the soundtrack, and I really wanted to arrange that. The only problem is that in Glory to Mankind we had too many epic tracks. I mean, I know there's never enough epic tracks in an album for me, but I think it sounded too similar to like Dark Colossus or like I don't know other tracks in there, and I was like, I'll save that for a later time. Except I didn't really think that because I didn't know I was gonna make another album from the soundtrack, but pretty cool. Um, don't have much to say about this one. It's pretty straightforward, except it was super fun to have both the ethnic Bulgarian choir on this, and also like traditional choir as well, like the SATB. And let's see, I'm trying to see. I have the credits here with me. Yeah, this has a ton of super cool people in it. It was super fun to like figure out the lyrics for this one as well and try to like match them. I tried to move some stuff around in there, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. I really like this track, and I feel like I was gonna say something else, but no. More listening is always better. I mean, listening of the music. Let's listen to the next track. If I can find it. Hold on. Okay, here we go.
Hello. I was just adding to the chat, but that can happen later. So Memories of Dust is another big favorite of mine. I can't really live up to the original because it's just so good, but that one is actually one that I had done. If you go to my YouTube channel, I did a version of it a couple years ago as well, and we decided we wanted to include it here too because we didn't get to do like a bigger treatment for it, and I kind of let Rosen do what he wanted as far as like the background. I just realized I'm not in focus on the screen. Um,
Do the thing.
the thing with the hands. What do you mean?
Yeah, both of you.
Okay, I'm doing the thing with the hands. So yeah, I let Rosen do kind of whatever he wanted as far as the arrangement of the instruments for this one. So it was really fun to kind of just let him go crazy, and he took it in a few different directions, so it kind of evolves over the course of the track. And I really like that. It feels like you're journeying through the desert, like at different times of day, and on the various missions that you do in the game. And the vocals were so fun to do. Yeah, I don't know, that was a good one. I don't really think I have other things to say about that, but if anybody else has questions, I'm kind of peeking at the chat. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, the Chaos language. I was going to say, it turns out I'm actually fluent in Chaos. There's only a couple of us in the world that speak it. I went to the Yorha Academy and got a master's degree. So, no, it was a lot of listening to the originals and looking up the lyric transcriptions that already exist online and kind of adjusting from there. So luckily this soundtrack is really useful because there's multiple versions of each track in the game. There's like the quiet versions and then there's the louder versions. So I kind of just listened to the quieter versions so we could hear the vocals more and get the lyrics from that. All right. Well, then I'm going to move on to the next one, which is really fun. again. Ahaha, I really am really happy we got to do Pascal for this album because it's also one of my favorites. It's just so fun. It's such a weird song, especially for that little village of machines, which are so cute. And whoever's played the game, Pascal's whole storyline is just very close to my heart. But anyway, the song was a lot of fun because it has these really cutesy, like robotic vocals, and so I got to do a lot of those. And part of the fun in that was in the original, I think it's the combination of an adult and a child singing together. And so I tried to mimic that a little bit, especially with the tuning. Like, I tried to make myself not sing as in tune and, like, more childish. And I mean, I love how it turned out. I don't know if that was the way it was intended, but yeah, it was so much fun. It was so much fun then doing all the processing to make it sound like robotic. And the rest of the arrangement, of course, was super, super awesome. So this also had our percussionist Larry on it, and we just really tossed him the track and we're like, please add everything to this song. Like, all of your percussion, just please add it. So I don't even know, do you remember all of the stuff you played for this one?
No.
We have it written down. Like, if you go to Bandcamp or to the Materia website, it does say.
Or you buy the vinyl and the CD has the full list.
Yeah, you'll get the booklet with the full credits on it. That's very true.
This is the first song. No, wait. The second song I wrote for the album back last summer.
Oh, really? So one of the first ones we did. And it's fun. We used to have this track as like an alarm back in the day. This is very cute to wake up to in the morning. Not anymore, but yeah, that was a fun time. So I'm glad y'all liked it. And the next one is a little bit more of that emotional, moody sound. So let's move on to that.
Hi, welcome back. I hope you enjoy that track. I really like it. It's very peaceful. Um, yeah, for those who ask, like, how do you make this sound so amazing? Well, it's a series of things, but I think these tracks that you guys are reacting to that are like, oh my gosh, this sounds so beautiful, so lush, and so pretty. It's because I have again Heath Hyman, who produced vocals on City Ruins, again one of my favorite vocal producers, to mix REVEN's tracks. We have David Peacock orchestrating, making sure that the score looks like pristine and ready to go, and like fix my little mistakes in there from like harmonies or voicings and all of that. And then I believe we also have Eric did the score preparation for this as well. So again, another like level of QA before it hits the live orchestra. Um, and we also have amazing like vocal tuning engineers for this, and a plethora of other people. Again, it's like it's a collaborative effort, and um, I think my work has only been increased in quality because of working with all these super talented friends. I can't believe they want to work with me because they're like all way more talented than me, but they decide to help in the album, which makes me very grateful. It's super cool. It's also super fun to like share share work like this with your friends. Ultimately, music with friends. It's just so amazing. I really like it, and I wouldn't change it for anything. So hopefully they'll let me work with them again after this, and we can make more stuff. So another thing I forgot to mention is that sometimes I try to mix everything myself when I don't have time or especially with like huge sessions from live recordings. I could use all the help I can, and Will Kennedy, one of my favorite mixing engineers out there. He's been everywhere from like mixing for to like many other bands, and even like classical music and all that. So it's like he's been huge help. I've learned so much from him. Was recommended by Jet, the mastering engineer, and yeah, and he forget exactly what he mixed. It's on the credits. Sorry, it's been a long time, but he did Peaceful Sleep, and that was just like beautiful. Like I know some of you were like, oh, it sounds like very buttery strings and like the lush sound in there, and that's because of it. Anyway, moving on. So that was, I almost say Peaceful Sleep. That was Voice of No, with capital No, Return. I really want to know why there's like two versions of this song. Was just like or three. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think one is like Voice of No Return, all like lower caps. Voice of No Return, I think with like capital N, and then Voice of No capital Return. Like there's like just no return from this. So someone asked like, hey, like, well, did any of these tracks that you wanted to arrange trigger like a desire to make another album? This was one of them. I wanted to cover Voice of No Return in the past album. There's other tracks that I really want to cover, but I won't say them because then that will spoil the rest of the track list, which is almost about to end. I hope that you're enjoying the ride. We have a couple more tracks left. Um, but yeah, there's more I want to arrange at some point. Maybe they'll make a cameo, and what the album I mentioned earlier. I hope that happens someday, which is like the kaiju Godzilla like monster video game monster kind of like concept. If not, there might be room for a third NieR album, but we'll see. I mean, there's also NieR Replicant, right? It's like there's just so much beautiful music that I don't think I'm gonna get sick of anytime soon. So yeah. Oh, someone asked, what language are these songs, or specifically last song? These are all made up languages. The game calls them chaos language, and the gist of it is that they are future versions of existing language. So, for example, some of them are like futuristic French, or a combination of Japanese and another language, future English. For example, City Ruins Shade. If English is not your first language, like in my case, it sounds like they're singing that song in English, but it doesn't really say anything.
There's like even some words that like are almost real English words at
Yeah.
that point.
Yeah, it's insane. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question. It's all angelic chaos language made up. I think most of it has been written by Emmy Evans, right? The main vocalist. Nothing by like Keiichi Okabe, right?
I don't think so. I
Yeah.
think she did all of the lyrics.
Yeah, she's the
Except for the stuff that's in Japanese, like Weight of the World
exactly.
in Japanese was Yoko Taro.
Yep, exactly. The rest of it is thanks to her. She's amazing at doing this. Um, yeah. Again, thank you so much for joining. I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces, people I haven't talked to in like a million years. So hi. If I haven't talked to you in a while, it's because I've been working on all these albums. But I am so grateful that you're here listening to them with me. It feels like being at home for sure. Let's see. What is my next track? Oh, another favorite. I cannot wait to talk about this one. So let's go get right into it. All right, that was the sound of the end. I I think this one it's probably my favorite like weird epic song from the soundtrack or one. I keep saying that it's my favorite. Of course, it's like that's how much I love this game. It's like I've never been more blown away with how good a whole soundtrack is. Like it has so many tracks and there's like little filler in there. Like little to none, or at least, I guess the filler stuff would be like the more interactive stuff that makes more sense in the game. But it's just like I love how much they repeat some of these themes throughout the game, and like you get to hear them and fall in love with them. Because it's a long game too, right? And it's kind of like cool that way. All right, so I'm gonna take a little break to talk about music production since a lot of you are very interested in that. I honestly that's very cool to know. I didn't know that people were curious. I mean, obviously, I cannot go into much detail because there's not the place to do it. But maybe if there's enough interest in the future, I could start like a little series of streams to talk about that. But I also don't consider myself like good enough. I'm also not a good teacher, so it's kind of like it's probably lame. But so what happens is, yeah, some people have it right. Like I use both synthesizers or like sound libraries or sorry sample libraries, which are like pre-recorded instruments I can just play like digitally. Um, and that's a horrible description of sample libraries. Anyway, go look up the go look up the definition of that. Um, so in my own process, because this works different with many people, my background is in trailer music. I started doing that right out of college, and in trailer music, there's always been this like hybrid of live instrumentation, sweetened or thickened by sample libraries and synths, right? So this really helps create a multi-layered and very deep sound that sounds like bigger than life, right? Like this is very like Hans Zimmer or like those big composers from the past like 2 decades where like the point of the music is not to sound like realistic or like doable, but like try to take everything to the next level so you can do things that you normally wouldn't be able to do live, right? It's like if this was all recorded live, it would have like a little bit thinner sound, different, right? It's like it's just different. It's just a different style. And I think that part of my own music style and voice has always been accompanied by a lot of sample libraries, a lot of electronics as well, like since I love playing with that and sound design. And then either just sweetening that up with layered orchestra or like strings or just like a single instrument or vocals in this case, or both. It's like here's a chunk of like 80 musicians playing at the same time, but also that gets thickened up and everything sounds like fat. Um, so I hope that helps demystify the process. So I like um, what I like doing a lot is making sure that I actually play on my MIDI keyboard on the piano all these parts, even if they're like other orchestra parts or like like strings or synths or like like booms or even percussion. I like playing a lot because, and I try not to quantize. I mean, I try to quantize so it sounds like good and in time, but I also try to do minimum quantization or humanization so it just sounds like more real, like someone is playing it. And I spend a lot of time playing with like faders and knobs to like get the right like breaths for like woodwinds and string phrases and brass and all that. So it's like I go as intimate as I want with these instruments. um, so yes, I would say most of my music, especially before having budgets to record live, were mostly sample libraries. So um, it's more recent that I get to do both. But like I wouldn't, at least for the style of music that I like working on, I wouldn't just do like a live album. Like I think that defeats the purpose because I like very heavy hitting things and like sound design and like electric guitars and stuff like that. Like it's just like a big blend of an instrument.
Oh yeah, which are all you, by the way, the electric guitars.
Yeah, I play very like lame electric guitar, but big part of my musical influence comes from like progressive rock and progressive metal, and I try to put and include that as much as I can, as well as like synths and all that. So yeah, I like that a lot. Someone asked what programs I use. That's a very complicated question because every sample library comes from a different, like I have a bunch of them, but my DAW, which is like my digital audio workstation, I like using Logic Pro. I'm on a Mac, so That's why I'm able to do so many of these things. The rest is not really like that important because just like it's hard to just pinpoint like, oh yeah, I use the these sample libraries or whatever. I know people always like are curious about that, but in the end I blend so many of them. Even with like strings, I have like 50 sample libraries open, like blended all together. So it's like, is it really one? No, not really. Um, yeah, anyway, I hope that helped. I hope it wasn't boring, too boring for people who don't know what I'm talking about, but hopefully it interests you a little bit, or gets you a little bit more context behind the creation of these albums. But yeah, this is what Revan and I do all the time. Like we both work on DOS, and use all the sample libraries. We have like very similar setups, so we're both able. So when you're like, hey Rosen, why is this a Rosen Revan album? But I don't hear Revan on every track. Well, that's because she also arranged a lot of these pieces. She also produced and mixed a lot of these as well, and like played them, performed them in some way, orchestrated. So it's um, like I said, this is a very collaborative project where we do everything, even it doesn't sound like that, right? So it's like it's so interesting because Revan is such part of my sound as well that without it, it kind of sounds like like it's not Rosen anymore. So that's fun.
I'm the shadow Rosen.
She's way better than me. So let's actually talk about the track a little
False.
bit. The sound of the end, I always like. Hopefully you notice this, but my second to last track is always like the. I don't want to say darkest, but weirdest is like the journey. It's like we're almost done, and the end is just an ending, or. But in this case, I'm gonna try not to spoil the game too much. But the game touches um, on a lot of subjects, philosophical subjects of what it's like to be, what makes a human human. Is it the thought? Is it the feelings? But is it the emotions? Is it intelligence? But what if androids or robots had this as well? What makes an alien an alien? And I feel like they touch on all these points wonderfully. Like I love the story and the lore and the topics they touch in this game. So I wanted to make a track. I think Sound of the End. The original is like pretty. I mean, I love it, but it's like pretty repetitive. But I wanted to make more of a journey, right? So it's like um, I try to include the journey that the main characters as non-humans go through. They go from being like androids and discovering all these emotions and discovering everything, like how similar they are to humans, um, and how they kind of through this journey become not gods but humans, which are the gods of this game, I'm assuming. And that's why I wanted this name for the title. I think it's such a powerful like topic that they mention a lot in the game, and it's just like this, like who are the gods here? Like what is it to become as gods and all that. So I think this track in particular exemplifies that. And you'll hear, if you hear it again, you'll hear that like the first part is more like synthy and like robotic, and it's more like da 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 da, and then it starts like bending in and out and turning more human. And then at the very like at the middle section, which is like really weird, I wanted to write something original. This is not in the game. I also like doing that, writing a bunch of like my own original compositions into here. I wanted to really explore the palette of Bulgarian ethnic choir. um, as I performed some of that before with other choirs and stuff, but I was like, I need a section here that is just a drone, and it's just the choir by itself, and this like weird phrase in the middle, and that kind of symbolizes the moment when the robotic or android mind gets enlightened, and they kind of turn into humans. That's the point. It's like for it to sound more sacred, right? It's like the yeah, I don't know how to describe that, but it's a more holistic view of their intelligence, of their purpose, and it's kind of like a Matrix moment, if you know what I'm talking about. So I wanted that like purity of the vocals from the ethnic Bulgarian choir to represent that. And they start evolving because this probably causes a lot of conflicts and conflict inside their robotic minds, and like exploring all these emotions was to be like a human, and like getting into the ego and the super ego and like identity and all this. And this transforms back into a bigger thing that sounds like the beginning, but it's more full, it's more complete. So you can tell I'm a huge nerd. I had a lot of fun.
I was gonna say that. Like, basically, we're huge.
Yeah,
nerds.
basically, I love the game and I love music and I love when I can explain lore or I can create some scenes that I envision in the game, that even though they talk about it, they don't show you, and it's like put all these concepts together and make a track. So hopefully you liked it. If not, if you just like it was like lame, whatever is not my thing, that's cool too. I'm so glad that you still wanted to listen. Um, yeah, no, I love that track so much. I really like how it came out. And sadly, we have only one more track to go, and you already kind of know what it is because at the beginning I said that, oh, well, the name of the first track is Morning slash God Have Mercy Part 1. So this is Morning slash God Have Mercy Part 2. So if you weren't here for it, I'll play the whole album. I'm just kidding. I mean, you can almost listen to it.
We're gonna start over.
We're gonna start over. No, although I could play the first and the second, in a row. Only if you want that. If not, because that's how it was intended to be.
No,
then,
we were gonna make the video. Remember?
Yeah, you're right. I guess I'll release a video with them both. But anyway, if you weren't here for the first track, there's an Easter egg that doesn't belong to NieR. So if someone can figure out what the God Have Mercy part is, I will be very delighted because it's very obscure, but it definitely shaped the sound and of this album and the main inspiration that I had, which is all this like kaiju stuff, and it's from one of my favorite composers that is not from Monaka, who did NieR Automata. But yeah, let's listen to it and see if anyone guesses. If anyone guesses, write on the chat. I'll be very surprised. I won't give a prize or anything, but you'll get my respect for knowing such obscure things. You'll probably laugh if you know what it is. All right, let's go. Wow, last second in the chat, someone guessed the composer. Yeah, Grandma is there. I had to. I think again. I'm gonna say it again, but this is Grandma is one of my favorite themes written for the game. So I just had to. It's like it was perfect, and I wanted to close with that. Anyway, that is not the Easter egg.
That's an Easter
Although,
egg as well.
yeah, yeah. So someone did mention the composer Shiro Sagisu, one of my favorite Japanese composers. I like love all that music, but yeah, it is from one of those. People are getting closer, but no. Anyway, just listen to it more. You probably haven't heard it. It's like super obscure. Um, why is it
Yeah.
here though? Why not? I think that when I heard,
That's the usual approach to
yeah,
these
like,
things. Why not?
why not? There's a lot of these like sci-fi religious connotations, like philosophical, like very Matrix or very like I don't know. It's like it's very. I love all the themes of this game, and I was like, this just makes sense. It's like it just fits so well together. I like having this track, and then just having morning as well, like together. So hopefully it doesn't make people like angry that I it's not a near thing, but
Blasphemy.
blasphemy. Let me see. So yeah, so this is being released at midnight Pacific time. No, sorry, Eastern time, which is 9 p.m. Pacific time. I don't know any other, and Europe is probably out already, so that's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, and on
It's just
streaming
whatever
services.
midnight of Friday is for you. That's when it's gonna release. At least on like Spotify and Apple Music. On Bandcamp, we're just gonna make it live around like probably still in the morning or like 10 a.m. But um, that's when the album is coming out. And just to remind you, if you don't follow me on Twitter or Facebook and you want to know where to get the vinyl and the CD pre-orders, just like follow me at Rosen DJ. I'm not a DJ. I know. I always have this conversation. It's my name
be.
initials.
Next
On
album.
Twitter, I think on Instagram, I'm at rosen.audio. And I think it's the same on Facebook. It doesn't matter. Facebook is dead. Um, but yeah, look out for more updates on that. If you weren't here before when I mentioned the vinyl, yes, there will be a vinyl. There's already pre-orders live for it,
And CDs.
and CDs as well. But the vinyl is not going to make it until next year, so just hang tight. But the pre-orders really help that happen. They really help make that happen. If we don't have enough pre-orders, this has never
We're
happened,
still
but
gonna
like
do it. We're still gonna
but
do it.
it's harder to make it happen because those things are expensive.
Also, I was gonna say that yeah, if you have not heard the original music from this game, it is so good. Like
Yeah,
it is so immersive in the game, and like you think the production on this album is good, it's like nothing compared to the game. Well, in my opinion, but I think it just suits the game so well. So I kind of envy anyone who hasn't played the game yet. It's super fun.
yeah, it's one of my favorite games and one of my favorite soundtracks out there. So you owe it to yourself to listen to the original music if you
Yeah,
haven't.
if you don't have time
Even
to
if
play
you don't
the
play the
game,
game and
yeah,
play the
just
game,
listen
yeah,
to the
it's a
soundtrack.
little long.
It's not too bad. It's not like RPG length, thank goodness.
Yep, and I know I don't post a lot on YouTube. Sorry to keep you all like in the dark here. It's like there's two worlds. There's like my fans from YouTube, and then everyone else. But if you haven't heard from me in like a million years, and if the last time you saw me was for Children of Termina listening party or like Ballads of Hyrule, I have more albums than that. I think after Children of Termina, I released a Kingdom Hearts album called The Keyblade War.
Yeah, that was a me
Um,
too.
yeah, that was amazing. And then Crest of Flames, which is a Fire Emblem Three Houses album as well, that released the same year. This was gonna be the third album that year, but I was like, no, it's no. I don't want it to show that I had too much to do during pandemic.
No, actually, it was also because we weren't able to wrap up the recordings until the end of the year.
Yeah.
They got delayed a lot, thanks to the pandemic.
Yep.
But that's okay.
It's all right. We got it to work, and Honestly, I'm kind of glad they're more spaced out. I think it's nicer to also just come back to them after a break and just be like, maybe this doesn't work,
No,
or
it's
like it works great. I enjoy them much better after. Like when I'm wrapping up production, I've listened to everything so many times. I'm just like, I don't want to listen to this crap. I'm gonna just delete the whole thing. But luckily, because these things are too expensive, I cannot just hit that delete button. But I think it really helps when I've like digested the whole music and then just take a break, like a few weeks, and then come back to it. And it's like, okay, yeah, I guess people can listen to this. Um, yeah. So someone is asking how I.
Hold on, I'm putting the album link in chat. Hold on.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't even know it.
You don't even know it. Yeah. So that link that I just put in chat has the album links to like all the major stores.
Yep.
So like Spotify, Apple Music, other stores and streaming services that you can find the album, as well as Bandcamp and the Materia store where you can buy the vinyl and CD.
Yeah.
I think it's up to date. If it's not up to date with everything, it will gradually be up to date the more that the album appears on stores throughout the day tomorrow.
Just keep checking.
So, but yeah, I know it's out in a lot of territories right now. So, lucky y'all.
So someone's asking, there's a Fire Emblem album. Yes, it's called Crest of Flames. And no, there's no God-shattering star in there. Not because I don't like. I love it. There's some quotes in there, but it's not licensable, so I couldn't really include that track. People always ask me like, why haven't you done like this? Most likely, one, I haven't played the game or I don't know the song, or two, it's not licensable. And with bigger productions like this, you cannot just go the illegal way. You have to make everything right. So it's kind of like, yeah. Anyway, that's it. We pay mechanical royalties and to the composers or the publishers, owners.
Nintendo, please take our money.
Nintendo, yeah.
And Square Enix, a lot of Square Enix songs.
Yep, exactly. So. Yeah, lots of albums that have been made. Hopefully, if you guys like this party, which, by the way, thank you so much for joining us. This is incredible. It's incredible to see so many familiar faces. I remember some of them that were at the last, a million years ago, last listening party of Children of Termina. Thank you so much for your support over the years. Again, if you see that my albums are sounding better every time, sure, it's experience, but it's also because I've had all the support from you guys, buying albums, pre-order, supporting with even a like and a subscribe and like sharing posts. So I really appreciate that. Thank you for being here. Thank you everyone for joining this little party. So if you like these and you wish there was one, there would have been one for Crest of Flames and the Keyblade War, say no more. We can probably have more, but you have to tell me. Otherwise, I'm not just gonna like show up there for like a year-old album and just be like waiting with like one viewer. Like,
oh come on, yeah, it'll be fun.
I'll still do it.
What is your Bandcamp URL? I'm trying to remember.
Oh my gosh, it's the weirdest thing ever.
But isn't it like music.rosen?
No, it's ROZN.
Oh, that
.bandcamp.com. It's not Rosen. It's just.
But also, you have a redirect that's like music.rosen.
Yeah, but I don't know it, so that's the easiest.
There we go.
Yeah, REVEN was also on Crest of Flames. Okay. REVEN will probably be on every album I make.
Get rid of me.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. But I basically am involved in all of his music because he asks me things and I tell him if it's good or not.
Yep. So we'll keep you posted on more parties like this. I think it would be fun to see everyone's reactions, even though you've heard the album. So probably not. So, maybe wait until those happen to listen to the album.
No. I mean, whatever. Either way is fine.
And we can talk more about our creative process then, and anything that we didn't cover today, because again, a year-long production for this album means that I forgot most of it. But that's what credits are for. So I'm sorry if I missed anyone. There was a little cameo from probably a lot of people know him here, Theophany. He helped me mix some of the choir for one of the tracks as well. So. There's a lot of fantastic people behind these albums that I really want to thank for letting me work with them, letting me use their amazing talents, and I hope that we do that more so that we can have more albums like this. And I hope that you guys enjoy the process of the creative process for these albums, and hopefully when you're listening to the songs again, you remember these little details or like find new ones. I don't see anyone that guessed the Easter egg, but that's fine. If someone ever finds it, just tweet at me.
Tell them?
No, you gotta find out.
Oh, Oh man.
Last time, you all disappointed me, and since of Hyrule, I also had like many. I always have Easter eggs, and everyone was guessing, but no one really got it. But I think someone for Children of Termina tweeted at me like a week later, being like, "I've been listening to this nonstop. Is this your Easter egg?" And I was like, "Holy damn, yeah, it is." So
Wow, I don't
I
remember that.
yeah, I won't say what it is, and I don't know where to find the tweet, but looking forward for to someone finding that Easter egg in tracks 1 and 11, I guess, which are technically the same track. Also, that like if you listen to the album, do yourself a favor and make a playlist with it so you can just like piece them together, part 1 and 2, because that's how they were written. At the end, I had to split them up because they seemed like an awesome bookend. So
Oh, also, I don't know if everyone on here knows, but somebody mentioned Theophany's doing the soundtrack to Kena Bridge of Spirits, and it was briefly announced, but actually Rosen is writing some additional music for that game too, so you'll
yeah.
be able to hear both of them. I've heard some of it. It's really, really, really good. So
Yeah, it's been an incredible project. I'm so
that'll be another
excited
fun one.
for people to play that game and listen to the music that
Yeah,
Theophany
comes out next month, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yes, it
I
does.
am still working on it. So, yeah. So go check that out as well, and support the musicians behind this as well. In particular, Eric Buchholz. If it's somewhere I can drop their socials, just keep an eye on Twitter because I usually tag them when I'm talking about the album. Eric Buchholz, amazing orchestrator and composer, video game composer as well. And David Peacock and Heath Hyman. I don't think he has social media, but
He does
probably.
have a Twitter, but I don't think he's very active on it.
But they're amazing individuals, amazing human beings, great friends, and also very talented at what they do. So yeah, go support them as well. They have amazing albums. If you like my stuff, their stuff is even better. There's Parallelus if you like Chrono
Chrono
Cross.
Cross, yeah.
There's Duality if you like Skyward Sword, and there is Hero of Time.
Yeah, if you like
if you
Ocarina of
haven't
Time.
listened to that, you have to go and
Actually,
listen to
David
that
was
right
on
now.
that album too, so that's
David was in that album as
Eric and
well,
David.
and many more things. They've been everywhere. Ori 2, they were also heavily involved with that game alongside Gareth Coker. So go listen to it as one of my favorite soundtracks as well. I know I always just talk about my favorite things and then things I hate, but that's fine.
No, what are you talking
I'm
about?
talking about Forest Kingdom.
Oh, you didn't like the track at first.
I didn't like that track at
Well,
first until
that's
I
fine.
got
That's
to
why
arrange
I'm
it.
here to convince him into doing
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
you're welcome.
Yes, I have listened to Genshin Impact, and oh my gosh, it's so good. There's just so much music that I want to cover, but also like it's easier to cover all their stuff because there's so much more to do. Like updating them and newer stuff. Even NieR, I was like, what am I even doing? I mean, I'm just doing this not to show it. This is just like to share my love to the composers and the fan base because it didn't need to exist. To be honest, there's too many arrangement albums, and the original soundtrack is already perfect in my opinion. So there wasn't any need for this except like for fun and for you guys and for the composers and the game developers as well. So yeah.
Oh, I was gonna ask if anyone wanted to share their initial favorite tracks from this album.
Yeah.
Just drop them in chat. But I know it kind of takes a couple listens of an album to really, really sink in your favorites. So that's fine. We'll give you some time. But yeah, I always really like hearing what people enjoy about our albums.
Same.
Because it sometimes is very different from what I enjoy. So,
yeah, same. We really enjoy your comments, and when you say like, "Oh my gosh, I love this track," because it's usually the track that like I probably didn't like as much, and then that makes me feel so much better.
Yeah, see, Eric, Forest Kingdom. Yeah, you're right.
Forest
it's very
Kingdom.
Good.
Yep,
I agree.
And City Ruins, yeah. But it's always fun because I never expect those things, or it makes me feel better because some tracks are like, I don't think I did that well with it, and someone is like, oh my gosh, this is my favorite thing ever, do more of that. So that also helps shape future albums. So anyway, yeah, we probably have to go now, which is sad because we like having all of you around, but we also don't want to interrupt
Oh,
your
but what
lives
are our
further.
favorites? That's
What
that's
are my favorites?
Yeah, from the
Okay,
album.
you go.
That's so hard. I can't answer that. I like them all. No, it's hard to say. I mean, Forest Kingdom is a standout because it turned out so amazing compared to like how it started and where we thought it would go.
Yeah.
I really like. I also really love how Voice of No Return turned out. But the other ones, let's see. Sound of the End was super fun because working with the traditional Bulgarian choir was amazing. I really love that sound of singing. But just all of them. Peaceful Sleep because I got to do the string lullaby version that I wanted. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard.
Mine's are easy. Forest Kingdom and Morning God Have Mercy.
Parts 1 and 2.
Yeah, and if I had to throw a third one in there, it would be The Sound of the End for sure.
That's so good.
Yeah, I like them both. Their original forms and also like the arranged ones.
David, it's not selfish to like your own work.
I am glad that you like Forest Kingdom. You better. It's like some of the best stuff I've heard from you. It's amazing. Oh yeah, some people came in late. It's never too late. I don't do the live stream too often, so I don't know what I set up as default, but I hope this saves as soon as I hit end stream. If not, I'm sorry, we'll just have to do another party. But yeah, usually I think the default for YouTube is like this ends and then it just goes into the archive or whatever. So you'll probably get to see it again if you were late. But again, never too late. And also if you were like hoping to listen to the album, it's only like a few hours away for some of us.
Right, and depending on where you live, it's already out on streaming services. So if you just look up, you can either look up Rosen or Reven and look for NieR Become as Gods. We've also dropped the link a couple of times in chat where it will show all of the stores where you can find it. So let's put that in there again.
Yep.
Album link. I'm in chat on my phone. That's why it takes me forever to type.
We'll get better at this streaming thing, especially if we do more parties. So hopefully they get more fun, and hopefully we can drag some of these other friends that are like not here tonight to participate. I think for Children of Terminal was fun because we had like producer there, like executive producer, and we had like other people that made cameo in the album. So it was pretty fun. Yeah, if you're on East Coast, I'm pretty sure it's coming out like pretty soon. So good luck. And I hope you enjoy it a lot. Again, please tweet at me with like your favorites, or just message me or comment on this stream if it makes it to.
It should.
So sad. It would be so sad if it doesn't make it.
It should show up on the channel after this, but I don't know how YouTube's default works, so we'll see.
All right. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a good day, afternoon, night. I know that I saw someone from Japan, and I was like, oh my gosh, I feel incredibly honored that it's probably a very weird time, or not, but I am so honored by everyone that joined.
It's not that weird, I think.
Yeah, but thank you, everyone, for being
there's some
here.
Europeans here as well.
Yeah. And enjoy the album. And until next time, I hope it's not like 3 albums from now. I hope you enjoy Become as Gods. Thank you.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.